Hi everyone, good morning. A bit about myself, like Joseph said, I have a bit knowledge about citrus, but not only. And I think that's what we're gonna talk about today about the fruit sensors. Uh, it really anything that is larger than 25 millimeters could be installed. It could be even a small stone fruit, kiwis, citrus, and all type of citrus from lemons all the way to mellow golds. And the beauty about the sensors of the fruit sensors that it's in the end what you're selling. You're not selling trees. You don't farm for yields for selling your trees. You're selling your fruits. And all of our sensors in the end is trying to give you actionable knowledge, not homework, but really what can I do this morning to improve my farming. And from all of the arsenal of sensors, I think, and also hearing from our clients, I think the fruit sensor is is one of the best data point that we can provide customers, especially during this time of the season. Now, really, all the action is happening, and yes, it's more challenging this year, of course, with the drought. So to understand every drop of the water, how much is it affecting the fruits, exactly what is my size right now, and more important, what is my pattern of the last week, 2 weeks. It's not one dot in a week. We're not sending people out there to collect data once a week. It's actually measuring every single hour of the day, and between each an hour of data, we connect the dots. So every single day, even half a day, it gets to a resolution of, I don't know. I just heard a good story this last week about pomegranates that we were able to see exactly when to irrigate. That exactly after 6 hours, that could be the sweet spot of affecting the irrigation effectiveness of the fruit. Um, so it really goes into many different levels, but I'm here today to show you really from scratch. And maybe Joseph, before going and showing the data, how it looks on the platform, the surprise that we wanted to show you is really right now. I think now it's the beginning, or we're getting close to the middle of August. 90% of the fruit sensors in the valley were installed. Real last last varieties of mandarins are being installed these days, where the sumos or the mellow golds are bigger, or specific navels probably were starting already in the middle of June. We usually want to try to avoid the June drop, so around middle of June will be the first sensors. All the way to beginning of August, some of the clementines will just reach around 30 millimeters, passing the 25 millimeters threshold only at the beginning of August.
So this is that Phytech fruit sensor that we've been discussing. Now, the images here are all of different kinds of citrus crops, but just like Matan was saying, this sensor is not at all exclusive to citrus, although I would say it's probably the most widely utilized in citrus due to the long growing season. But this same sensor can be installed on your peaches, your plums, your kiwis, your avocados, your pomegranates. They all can get the same sort of powerful monitoring. So you can see there the nice little clamp that holds onto the fruit. And then up in the top left-hand corner as well, that is our data logger, giving you the information coming out of the field to that logger right to your cell phone.
This is in the end what Phytech is all about, and why clients are so excited about the platform. Um, I I have here a few examples here. I'll take this down. I have a few examples that I wanted to show you. And very fast, even if you don't know too much about the data, you'll understand how everything is coming into one place and giving you not just homework, but really explain you and highlight where is the potential, where you can do more for your trees. And I started with just a regular block to show you that we'll have a common language before diving into um, the exact sensor of the fruit sensor. The platform, and this you can see also on your cell phone, of course. This is the block that has all the sensors. So you can see, of course, on the top, the size. Today we're talking about the fruit sensors. So this is mellow golds, really close to 90 millimeters already. In the last 7 days, it grew a bit above 2 millimeters. And the platform, you can see it on a 1 week scale, 2 week scale, 1 month scale. For this demonstration, I will show 1 month scale, where you can see exactly when you're irrigating. Each line here, each column is 1 day. These are 4 weeks of the month, last month. And I can see very easily the irrigations, when I start, when I finish, the PSI levels. And these are the plant status. This is the plant status. The Phytech is looking at your actual tree. This is sensors on your trunk of the tree, not the fruit yet, but only the tree. This is how much it's growing in a course of a month. And if a tree is not stressed, especially citrus and almonds before harvest, it will grow every day. And also citrus, once the fruits will get bigger, it will the vegetation aspect will be minimized. Um, but it's all about the balance, how much you want to push vegetation, how much you want to push for production. Um, this is the actual tree. Underneath that, of course, is the soil. So you can see 6 layers of soil, exactly when you irrigate, how much did it penetrate, the jumps before, after the irrigation. And on top of that, of course, there is the topic of today, the fruit sensors. This is a measurement from I think we were able from Ian to see a second of an image there on the tree. These are typically 3 fruit sensors on a site, on a location that we picked as an average for the block. And I'll get into the 3 sensors in a second, but it's really important to know that the name of the game here is flexibility. It's not only the fact that you have here good data, it's that you're the client and you know best how much you want in a site. There are customers that put 3 sensors. There are customers that put 6 sensors. There are customers that put on high hill, low hill, 3 different locations in one block. Some of you even in citrus, if I'll take that, and not only in citrus, there's many times you do extras. You want to see half X, 1X, 2X. How much is it affecting? To see the borders of how much water I'm applying and how much is it affecting. What's amazing here is that you can do changes in an evergreen crop like citrus. Someone that farmed for 40 years, he can see differences in the tree and he can see what is stress, but also a very experienced grower, especially if you farm 1,000 acres, 2,000 acres, he can be all in one place. And also if he goes there, it's really hard to see when is exactly the day it's entering stress and how much is it affecting the trees. The fact that I can give you here, and you can see my mouse, every hour I'm collecting data and I'm putting a curve between all of them. And if this is a regular site that has 3 sensors, this is an average of those 3 sensors. If I have 9 sensors in this location, this is going to be the average of 9 of them. Uh, Everything in one line.
And Matan, we didn't get to hear it sadly from Ian, but he was one of the things he was going to share with you guys is that also these 3 fruits aren't chosen randomly. So the technician doesn't just go out there and the first fruit he sees that he clamps the sensors on it and then leaves. No, we have the technicians have a pair of calipers out there, and they measure each of the trees that they're going to place fruit sensors on. They measure the fruit on those trees to find the average. And then they install the sensors on those. So you're getting 3 different fruit that are also the average sizes for their trees. And then we also do have clients, especially on certain crops, citrus, that might have 1 or 2 different crops on the tree at one time. We might be actually on even multiple sizes in multiple locations. But the goal is that we have these 3 pieces of fruit on average pieces of fruit.
Correct. That's a very, very important point, and it's a question that always comes from clients. And again, the name of the game is flexibility. The fact that everything is wireless, the fact that you can choose if I want to put 3 sensors or 15 sensors. It's up to the client to determine. And some clients will give us even. We come as a standard. We come and do a caliper on 10 different fruits. Usually, we're really close to the average. And citrus, for example, if it's a navel, it takes 6 millimeters to jump between 2 different groups. If it's a 72s or 88s, mandarins, it's a bit smaller. It's 2 millimeters, and you need to be more accurate, of course. But we have clients that will give us, and this specific day, we did a count for 100 pieces, and this block needs to get this size, or we will install, and 2 weeks later or a month later, there's a small adjustment they want to do on 10 blocks, and we'll come and we'll do it. It's very simple, and we have even clients that will tell us we know best. We want to do this, specifically the fruit sensors. Give us the inventory. The installation is super simple. We will choose the sensors, the fruits ourselves. So any type of option you can do. But in the end of the day, this is what you're getting. Now, if I want to, let's take a look only at the fruit sensors for a second. If I'll take down the soils and I'll make this big, this is very good data. Okay, so this is water amounts and how much the fruit is growing. Now, when I'm saying that we're giving you not homework, not if I'm just giving you here a graph, it's good, but it's not enough. Clients, growers, the way for them to be better, to be on top of it all the time is the capability to reference yourself to yourself or to the industry. The fact that I'm able to add a black line that is a reference to where I want to be in, I know that the harvest date is January 15th. And the size of mellow gold, this mellow gold, is supposed to be 125 millimeters. We are on citrus and stone fruit and kiwis and many crops for many years. For each crop, we build this curve, and also every season we get better. We're getting more and more data, but you can see how close this line is live from the field to our trajectory line to be able to reach the 125 for this specific mellow gold. And this is the money. For example, mellow golds or sumos, if if a sumo will not reach 95 millimeters, if we reach only 90 millimeters, that is a lot of money difference. So every day count, every week count. And this is one example. Just I wanted to show you all of the layers. Now this what happens on a healthy tree with when everything is happening. This is a very typical irrigation in the valley on the west on the east coast next to the mountains. 24 cycles irrigation once a week, heavy soil, tree is balanced, soil moisture is balanced, everything looks good. The plant, you can see how it's growing. Citrus is a very slow tree, and if everything is fine, it will grow every single day. This is the actual tree that grows every day, 10, 20 microns, looks healthy. If everything is good, we're on a very, yes, you can do a bit better, but you're not. Overall, this looks good. Now, where it's important, the changes you want to do. first of all, it's defining the needs. So this year, for example, water is a big issue. The fact that he irrigates 24 hours and he's getting excellent results, it could be he can irrigate 20 hours and reduce the amount of water and still be on exactly this data. You need to do a change, and with Phytech, you can see the difference, not in I did one or two changes and let's see how did it affect 4 months from now when I see the total size. You do a change, you put a different fertilizer, you put a different amount of water, you prune, for example, sumos, you prune, you thin the fruits stronger or less, and you want to see the effect immediately, you can see the data very fast on the fruit. Now, this is when everything is perfect, okay? Customers of ours and in California, when you farm 1,000 acres, 2,000 acres, even 200 acres, and you have 4 blocks, 10 blocks, 50 blocks, you can be all in one place. Uh, the, the capability of technology to give you alerts, to tell you on time, live, not a week from now, not 2 weeks from now, right now, something is happening. You should call the manager. You should go there yourself and see what's going on. And this, I'll take a different example. I mean, you can see this is a big ranch. If I'll go between the different blocks, you can see most of them, one block, the fruit is a bit higher. One block is exactly on the curve. Let's see over here. This is a navel that we just installed 2 weeks ago. But if we'll go to this example, for example, we'll take 162. And 162 this year looks like this. Last year didn't look like this. Every year stuff can happen. The soil doesn't change, but the crop load is changing, the weather changing. Over here, even without, some of you do not know Phytech, didn't do with us 5 years, but you can easily see that something is different over here. And if I'll, before even jumping to the fruits, if I'm looking, you can see the soil moisture level is overall balanced. Let's take this. We'll take the fruits down. You can see that the half foot, 1 foot, 1.5 foot, this is most of the active root zones. And you can see, if I'll minimize, you see the 3 feet. The 3 feet is almost 35%. If you dig over there, there's a lot of moisture at 2.5, 3 feet. It doesn't go to the tree. When it's 100 degrees outside, the tree shuts down every time 3 days after the irrigation, after the 24 hours. It's just not enough. If we will look only at the half foot, let me minimize all of this. We can open the half foot or 1 foot. Every time that the 1 foot is getting closer to 30%, around 31%, every time you go below this, exactly on this block, this location does represent a good portion of the block. So probably around 70% of this block looks similar to this. Maybe some places worse, some places better, but overall, this is the story of this block. Now, if this in Phytech, it's all about implementation. We're showing you data, and you need to believe us that something is that when we are showing you here red, this is stress. And we always recommend clients the first year, go out there, pressure bomb the tree. I'm showing you here 2 days of reds, double check us. I'm showing you here a pressure of 23 psi. Check us, okay? And you'll see the sensors are accurate. Now you're selling fruits. If I'm putting the fruits and these plant status, this red is coming from the actual tree, okay? This is the trunk size growing, and 3 days, exactly 3 days after each irrigation, it starts to shut down. Now, you don't need to have 40 years expert in trees to understand that this is not a healthy tree. This is minimizing your potential. The tree is recovering. That's a positive effect that is really good to see. But it's far from reaching the full potential of the tree. And when we are saying full potential, it really depends on the stage of the season. Stress is stress. And sometimes stress is even good. Some citrus growers will want to have stress at the during September to increase Brix even. You want to minimize the vegetation, and most of the sugar will go to the fruits maybe. But stress is stress. If you stress an avocado early in the season, during June, you'll have a bigger June drop. These this tree that is not growing overall in the course of a month, these are the buds maybe for next season. Uh, for the Today we're speaking about fruits. So if I'm putting the fruit next to the tree, you can see the exact same pattern, and we're just at the point of time of the season where the stress will start affecting more on the size. And again, it's reaching your full potential. This is a metal gold. And the most money I'll get is the biggest size probably I will. It's not and also that goes with sumos and some mandarins. You want to be exactly on 60 millimeters. If you go into 65 or 70, you're there's downsides for that. If you're lower than 60 millimeters, you'll not get the full amount of money. The fact that you can monitor this every week and see exactly where um, there's a shift throughout the season, that's a huge thing. Um, Now, there's many examples, and the time is clicking. I want to show you and emphasize about the important of monitoring the fruits. To summarize this example, if I'll take down the plant and looking only at the fruits, and the algorithm doesn't work on the fruits, it's actually coming from the tree. So the fact that this is going into negative, these three reds are, this is exactly what happens in live in the tree. I will jump to other images to show you all the capabilities of the fruit sensors. And again, it's not for citrus. Yes, this is an example of citrus, but in every crop there is different emphases. If it's in stone fruit, you're reaching a size and you want to know exactly when to harvest, when exactly it's going down to low values, and this is the exact perfect time to harvest. And all of these stuff that I'm saying are examples we're hearing from our existing clients. So I'll jump to another example over here, a different block. Again, this is a severe stress already. Actually, over here, I believe there was an issue with the pipe. And if I add the fruit data, you can see how usually when you lose enough fruit size, it's hard to compensate. Over here in this example, it actually, you see how it's separating from the target line. It went into very strong negative for several weeks, reaching less and less potential. Once he did the fix of this line, he started to irrigate a bit more. You see how the tree is getting healthier, and also the fruits are starting to go back to the black line. And in a sense, I think, and I'll finish these examples of these graphs with this by saying that this is farming. The fact that you're able to catch this stress on the second day, now you're seeing a full image. But this client saw an alert on his cell phone over here. It didn't take him 2 weeks to fix this issue. It took him 5 days to fix this issue. Maybe caught it without Phytech, maybe with Phytech. For sure, it did help him. And he saw live very fast that something is going on here. And in the course of 10 days, he was able to fix it. And even his size was able to compensate when many times it's really hard to do. I'll jump with the last minutes that I have, I guess, Joseph, to show you different places next to this with this data. This is the main overview. This is similar stuff you'll see on your cell phones. But what's good with data that you can actually take the data and how you present it, it's really important. And that's on the computer for big companies. This is a very good tool that I can take a full ranch, for example. I'll take this ranch and I can see a total amount of my water in inches, hours, coefficient. I can see a heat map of my pressure. So this light blue on week 29, this block had 14 psi, where these two blocks had more than 30 psi. I can see it daily, weekly, or monthly. And over here, I can see actual fruit size. Uh, Let me move over here. If this is this ranch and each block is a different variety. If I want to see only the Cara now, I'll click over here and you see that the averages are becoming different. Uh, each block I can put my mouse and see exactly what is the size for this block. Now overall you can see that this is on target, most of them. It's not too far from the black line. It's relatively close, but there is something starting to happen in the last 10 days. Specifically a good story for you, something we got from our clients in the last 3 days. Last week there were 2 days of smoke. Last year, we had it like for 3 weeks or 4 weeks. That smoke has an effect on the fruits. Overall, in all of the industry, last week, there was suddenly a reduction in fruit size all across the valley. And some of it probably got to do with those 2 days of smoke. And that's part of the reason why you see this line separating more from this black line, even though the trees are not in stress. Now we can move between varieties. If I want to see all of the navels now to get a good average, you can see this is and it takes me 2 seconds. I change the varieties, whatever I want to see. I want to see it on a monthly scale. I'll look at it on a monthly scale. I want to see the size in a graph. I'll look at it like this. If I want to see columns, some people really like to see columns. So I can see every week, what am I expecting to have on fruit size? This is my target that I picked to be. And this is actually what the fruit did during this week. I think I'll show this example last. In citrus, many many times you like that it's on hills. So if I'll take this block for example, I have here two locations on this block. One is called high hill and one low hill. You see over here, this site is over here and this site is over here. If I'll open this block, I can, and this is the overview I showed you before, okay? You can actually see the fruit size for the last month together with the tree. Again, this is a very good farming pulse irrigation even. Look, this is on the line, the high heel, and he's monitoring this daily. Okay, he knows exactly every reduction, every change. He's on it, and that's how you get and you're pushing your trees stronger and stronger. But you need to do it daily. Most of our clients that have fruit sensors, my guess is that they open it 3 times a day, the platform, just to follow their fruit data. That's what they sell. Now you can see in high hill and low hill. Low hill, for some reason, is a few millimeters below. So he has a good average between them. Now, if you want to see them both on the same graph, you can actually click here on the fruit, and this is actually the place you enter your target line. So this is Sumo's. His target is to be in January in 95 millimeters, and January 15th actually. Now I can put on the same graph, and just imagine if you have X-Rows, for example, you can put here high hill. I want to see only the low hill right now, and I can see that the low hill did 2.27 millimeters last week. Its total size right now today is 62.13 millimeters. The high hill, I can click on it and see it also. I can see that both of them are on the same graph. In the middle is my target line, and I can follow this daily. I can see it on a course of a season. And many times when you look at it on the big scale, you can see suddenly a shift in pattern. And I think that's the most important when you're following fruit. The fact that this low hill is a bit below or the high hill is a bit above, again, it's still in the statistical good data that you're really close to your target. But once a pattern will change, exactly like over here. You can see in the last 7 days, suddenly the pattern is changing. You're separating from the black line. I can look at it like this, or I can look at it again like this. Look, if I take the fruit, the tree, you can see even without the black line that really emphasized this, if I'm looking only at the fruits, you can see how the pattern is changing here. And that's the most important thing to look for with fruit data. And if you don't look at it daily, once a week, it's really hard to catch these stuff. And that's the difference in sizing in the end. If you're able to catch it on time, fix the pressure, the filter that got plugged and you missed it, the issue in the main line that stopped working, or I didn't prune enough or thin enough my sumos and I need to take down another 100 pieces. Everything will be reflected in the fruit data. And people that follow Phytech and use this do get the benefit out of it.
I did actually wanted to add one extra point to what Matan was saying. Where we are right now in August, considering that, is if you guys saw that black line, especially when it was on some of the mandarins, like the sumos that he was showing you, how steeply that curve moves right now. So you have a lot of growth trajectory that's happening in July and August, and then things will continue to go downwards in terms of rate. So catching something like this isn't just important just in general, it's catching it right now because you are basically leaving size at the table that you could be able to make use of. With that in mind, let's go to a few different questions. You guys are welcome to add any more while this goes along. If you had a single best irrigation tip, Matan, if there was a practice change, if there was just one thing you would say that leads to typically getting better fruit, what would you say that is?
It's a tricky question. And in a sense, I'll say that Phytech gives visibility. There's no magic. It's hard work. We can come to a block like this that irrigates once a week and everything looks fine. And then the discussion will be how much water you want to cut back in order to maintain the same. The question is not how much you can cut back water, is how much each drop affects my fruits, how much money I'm getting from each drop. Um, Generally speaking, I think there's a movement for drip irrigation in the industry as a whole. And probably in the course of the next 10 years, you'll see more and more companies that are looking for the long term to be in the industry and getting better yields, move into automation. The fact that you're able to irrigate once a week, some places, if you have heavy soil, it works fine. And when I'm saying fine, you'll get good yields, but you're far from reaching the full potential of the tree. It could be you're an 85% or 80%, and it works for years like this. But in order to push it to 90% potential, you'll have to improve your efficiency in water. Efficiency in water goes with fertigation also. This irrigation, if I'll put the soil, it reaches all the way to 2.5, 3 feet. The fertilizer will go with it together. The active roots are not there. Doesn't matter how much I want to think the roots will suck it from there, it doesn't. And if I'm reaching that there, so some of the water is going to waste and a good portion of my fertilizer is not coming to my trees. If as frequent irrigation that I can do overall is the same, okay? It will benefit the trees with automation that you can do even pulse irrigation, not extreme pulse, like even twice a day irrigation as opposed to once every 3 days or once a week. That usually makes a big difference. And then again, depends on your soil. If you have heavier soil, if there's better soil, you can, especially with citrus, in some places you'll do once irrigation a week and the tree will look fine. But then again, every season stuff changing, and this 162 last year didn't look like this. It looked completely green. Really depends on the year, but overall, you can see from this example, without me saying, everyone that looks at this on this image know that after exactly 2.5 days will be probably better to irrigate over here. and not the same amount. Take this 24 hours and break it to 3 times a week, and not once one cycle. Probably you'll be much in a better place with these trees.
Yeah, no, I definitely say, along with what Matan was talking about earlier, with flexibility is an amazing thing about these sensors. Another thing that's really important for us at Phytech is there's not really a one size fits all sort of scenario. It's very much a individual situation depending upon water availability, the block's response to irrigation, and then also, like Matan had brought up, how fertilizer can be lost when different kinds of irrigation practices are performed. Um, so a great question, a little bit more on a hardware aspect of it. How often do the sensors need to be recalibrated? Basically, how much time are we sending techs like Ian out to the field to check on things?
Specifically on the fruit sensors, so there's the fruit sensors, you put it around June, July, and metal golds. Actually, 2 years ago, we made the two arms to reach larger scale, to fit also the 125, 130 millimeters. But there's no calibration throughout the year for these sensors. Once the fruits get picked, we take all the sensors that they won't get damaged during the winter, and we calibrate them in our shop. Again, makes double checking them, replacing batteries, and getting them ready for next year harvest. So that's for the fruit sensors. Other sensors will have to have calibration sometimes throughout the year, especially the dendrometers that sits on the trees, and also that usually it's on the younger trees that grow really fast. Most trees need a one-time calibration throughout the year, and usually our technicians are there anyhow. If it's on citrus, when we do the fruit install, we calibrate all the sensors on that specific day because we're already there, and you're good for the entire season. But if a bird doesn't come and takes down the sensor, uh, or a sprayer knock it down by mistake, the sensors are good. And look, this is data that is coming every hour. Look how clean it is, and this is exactly what's happening over there. If it got knocked down or something, you will see a small jump because the average will come from 2 sensors and not 3 sensors. It will come from 5 sensors and not 6 sensors. You'll have a
Mm-hmm.
small jump that in this example, you don't see jumps like this. It's a very clean line. But from time to time, there'll be a very small jump. It's just taking an average from 5 sensors, not 6. So the average will change in 2 millimeters maybe, and then it will continue from there. And we will see that. We see that the fruit falls. Sometimes the client even sees it and he knows he's there. He will just come and put it back on the fruit, or we will come and we'll do the adjustment.
One of the things that we sadly kind of missed, I don't know, you guys might have caught it in that kind of single image from Ian of the tree, is that he is putting the sensors up in the canopy. So they're not basically sitting on the outside edge of the tree where we're probably even more likely to be hit by a spray rig, someone working in the field, an animal, a bird. But by putting them a little bit inside the tree, we're giving them a little bit more security. But it definitely is a caveat with these sensors that they are hanging outside. So, there's nature outside and we do have to deal with that. But it's then where we get to come in, especially with the Phytech subscription service, and handle any problems like that that arise during the course of the year. All right, I'll give you guys a couple more minutes to drop in any more questions, but at the moment we just have one. It's specifically talking about this year. Are we seeing anything different with fruit growth this year? With the like water issues, temperature, they were just asking about different things with fruit growth this year.
More stress. I will say overall, if specifically on citrus, um, we are on many blocks of citrus. Overall, it's a higher stress season, and not because of the volume of the fruits. I think it's a lower crop overall in the industry. Um, so the sizes are a bit bigger than normal. Um, but in the end, you can't farm with no water. And it's our clients that come to us and sit with us and think how we can, or you have 50 blocks, where are my 5, 6, 7 blocks that are more affected by the stress and the fact that I don't have enough water? And then they can choose, instead of, okay, let's try to aim for everyone to be happy. I don't have enough water, there is a drought, but if I won't water these 5 blocks out of my 50, those are the high potential of stress. So that's really where we can help our clients. But yeah, that's what we see. Usually, you'll see stresses in citrus looking like this, more in the end of August, September, and it goes together with clients that will maybe do deficit irrigation for different reasons. But as an industry, you see this pattern, especially in the last 3 weeks. It started, I think this year it started earlier, just because there's just not enough water. In the end, trees need water, and if you don't have water, if you don't have 50, 60% KC for citrus, you'll start getting stress.
Yep. Nope. The story of the ag industry this year for sure. All right. I think that is it for the questions. Guys, I really appreciated everyone coming out and getting to listen to this. For those of you in the future, this will be posted to YouTube if you would like to share it to any of your other team members who weren't able to be here today, so we can get this information into more hands. But appreciated all your time. Matan, appreciated you coming in, sharing some great examples, all of this live data, as well as thanks to the clients who allowed us to share their data for today. Thank you all. We will see you at the next Phytech webinar.